podcast. Wrestling, entertainment, sports, and travel. Home of the 2024 MLB World Champion Dodgers. And now, here's your host, Ox.
Yo, what up, what up? It's another Saturday, and if you didn't know, I'm your host, Mott's, and this is the W.E.S.T.Podcast, Wrestling, Entertainment, Sports, and Travel. What up, y'all? It's another Saturday. I was thinking right before I started recording this, in the movies, where the heroes have to break into like a corporate building and there's security in the lobby, the next day, what happens to that security guard that let him in? Like, does he show up for work? And that's if the building's still standing. Does he like show up for work and then it's like, HR would like to see you? I mean, like what happens is like, well, what happened? It's like a black dude with an eye patch, a white dude with a shield, another white dude with a hammer. And you thought it was okay to let them up to the top floor in the server room, right? Okay. I mean, like, and then like, what if the building is destroyed and you show up, like you have no place to work? Do you make calls? Or do you just start automatically looking for another job? I mean, it's just something to think about. So anyway, last episode, I got a couple things wrong. I called TNA's March PLE No Surrender. It's going to actually be Sacrificed, and that's going to be March 27th. It is AEW Revolution weekend in LA, Crypto.com Arena, where you have Hangman taking on MJF for the AEW World Heavyweight title. And if Hangman loses, he can no longer challenge for the AEW Championship forever. So that's going to be something. And it's also a Texas death match. So this past week, TNA had their pay-per-view Vengeance, where Joe Hendry defended the TNA title against Ricky Saints. All Ego Ethan Page tried to come out and quote-unquote help Ricky Saints. He actually, one, distracted Ricky Saints at one point, and then two, he was going to pass Ricky Saints the belt, but then he passed Ricky Saints almost to Joe Hendry. And earlier in the match, Ricky Saints tried to end the match with a low blow, and Joe Hendry returned the favor with the mule kick, and so that was that. So anyway, let's get into the top news.
The big story of the week was this.
Okay, former WWE diva and women's champion Candice Michelle signed with TNA, and TNA posted the signing on their Twitter or X account on Friday. And in other news, after 12 years as a wrestler and backstage creative, producer and writer, Brian Road Dogg James has left the WWE. According to WrestlingInc.com, they put out an article that includes speculation from Eric Bischoff from his 83 Weeks podcast that Road Dogg could end up in AEW, but TNA would be the more obvious choice because they could use his help and creative advice in trying to appeal to AMC to renew that TV deal that they just got. So that's something to look out for. If you don't remember the Road Dogg, he was part of D-Generation X with Billy Gunn. They were the New Age Outlaws. So if he goes to AEW, he'd actually be reunited with Billy Gunn because Billy Gunn is in AEW with his two sons, Austin and Colton. So that could be something interesting. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be working in the ring, though. I'm pretty sure he's going to be working behind the scenes, like producing and writing shows and matches. So that's something to look out for. So, with no further ado, let's see who is. All right. So this is the part where I take you on a tour around every wrestling promotion because wrestling is on basically every day of the week. And there's a lot going on, but all you need to know about what's going on is the main event, which is like the end of the show. So starting on Saturday, you had Collision, which is on TNT at 5 p.m. You had Takeshita defeating Claudio Castagnoli, and he's actually going to take on Jon Moxley for the Continental Championship tomorrow in a no time limit match. So after the match, Hechicero, part of the Don Callis family, tried to jump Jon Moxley, who was at ringside, and Takeshita tried to stop him. He was like, "No, I want this to be like, even. I don't want there to be no interference or no nothing." And then Claudio gets involved and starts beating up Takeshita. Jon Moxley starts beating up Hechicero to get his lick back. So the show pretty much ended in a brawl with the four, brawling. On Raw, Monday nights on Netflix at 5 p.m., you had Jimmy and Jey Uso confronting CM Punk for what he said last week about burying Roman Reigns alongside his dead father. So the Usos wanted Punk to apologize for his comment about their uncle. And he didn't want to apologize, so they basically kind of ended up in a small scuffle, but they just knocked CM Punk on his ass, and that's when the show was over. So apparently now there's beef with the Anoa'i Fatu family and CM Punk. NXT Tuesdays, the aftermath of Vengeance. You had Ethan Page teaming up with Ricky Saints to take on Joe Hendry, the NXT champion, and Miles Bourne, the NXT North American champion. And All Ego Ethan Page pulled out the win over Miles Bourne. So that was that. And when it comes to Wednesdays, you know what that means. AEW Dynamite on TBS at 5 p.m. You had a press conference with Hangman and MJF regarding their upcoming match tomorrow for the AEW title, the Texas Death Match. Now, what a Texas Death Match is, it's a match that can only end in either submission or a knockout, which is the opponent doesn't answer the referee's 10 count. The opponent, basically someone has to stay down for a 10 count. So that's the Texas Death Match. And it's no disqualification. Again, if Hangman loses, he can never challenge for the AEW heavyweight title again. So pretty much they traded jabs back and forth, and MJF proposed a toast, but Hangman threw his drink on MJF, and so the show ended up with the two of them just brawling. And then Thursdays, TNA, new on AMC at 6 o'clock. That's another thing I got wrong. It's actually 6 o'clock Pacific. You had Moose defeating Cedric Alexander of the System. So Moose is on a quest to pretty much beat everybody in the System because he was unceremoniously kicked out of the group. And there's a new system in place. So he defeated, Cedric Alexander, who is another great black wrestler. Also, you had the U.S. television debut of French wrestling viral sensation Ricky Sosa. So Ricky Sosa made his first appearance on U.S. TV, and I told y'all last week, I said there was reports that he was at a TV taping for TNA in Atlanta, and I said they haven't aired it yet. It was just a taping, but they're not taping it for nothing. They're gonna air it sometime. So I said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Ricky Sosa making his debut on TNA. And then last but not least, you have SmackDown Friday night. That's on USA at 5 p.m. And you had the contract signing for the championship match for WrestleMania between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And it was kind of going okay until Randy Orton went Randy Orton. He went back to the Legend Killer, and he basically put Cody Rhodes, bounced his head off the table, threw him outside, basically threw him over the announce table, and basically beat him to a bloody mess. So that was that. So all that being said, the show that's living their.
I'm living my best week.
I'm going to give it to TNA because they acted. They had the gumption, they had the wherewithal to act on a viral sensation, didn't waste time, and brought Ricky Sosa over. So that was a smart move by TNA. So they are actually living their best week. And when we come back, we're going to have Mod Sports West and see what you watch and talk some food and travel. Peace.
Has bad credit been holding you back from getting a new car, a house, or a better job? Visit creditrepairfolks.com. They offer one-on-one consulting and will give you a personal roadmap to removing negative items and adding positive points to your credit score. The first consultation is free, and they're the only ones that offer a money-back guarantee. They also have payment plans available. So what are you waiting for? Visit creditrepairfolks.com today.
Our coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked.
That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins.
All right, it's time for Mod Sports West, where we talk sports, the only 3 sports team that matters. The Lakers, Dodgers, and Rams. Lakers, Dodgers, and Rams. That's it. That's all we talk about because it's about Mods West. That's it. So, Lakers. They beat up on the Bulls Thursday night, 143 to 130, with Luka dropping 51 points on them. LeBron actually returned. The King returned. He had a modest 18 points. But the reason he had only 18 points is because he sees the chemistry between Luka and Austin Reeves, and him being the smart basketball-minded player that he is, he's not trying to get in the way of that. He played a more supportive role. He actually got more involved in off-the-ball movement, pick and rolls, and played more defense. So everybody in LA is like, oh, they play better without LeBron. They play better without LeBron. LeBron is smart, y'all. Y'all do not give that man enough credit. And I hate the way that LA mistreats him and doesn't put enough respect on his name. He sees what's going on. He ain't stupid. So he knows what he has to do. He knows he's older. So he can actually, this is what he wants. This is what he's been looking for his entire, after he's been the main guy, he's been looking for a team where he doesn't have to play the lead, where he can just, relax, chill, and do other things. So, Laker fans, you guys don't appreciate him, and I hope he leaves and goes somewhere and beat y'all for a championship. So they play the Nuggets today at 5:30, so check that out. The Dodgers, yesterday they beat the Mariners 10-7 in spring training. They ended up getting Kyle Tucker, like I said. I reported that here. Teoscar Hernandez and Kyle Tucker led the way in the victory. And the Rams, they signed quarterback Jalen Watson to a $51 million contract with $34 million guaranteed. Jalen Watson was formerly on the Chiefs, and he was actually a teammate of Trent McDuffie when they went to 2 Super Bowls. So they went from having their secondary as a weakness. Now it's one of their strengths. They have a Super Bowl caliber secondary now. So also with Jared Verse up in the front, man. And first round draft pick, they have the 13th pick in the draft. So that's going to be really interesting to watch. And that's it. We want to see what you watching now. All right. So last week, I said I was watching Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, and I had a hard time watching it because it was just kind of off-putting. But I did finish it, and I gotta say I'm a little bit impressed. I'm not mad because it brought around everything full circle. Because in the first episode, spoiler alert, you've been warned. So in the first episode, there's a boy that's on the run with his mom, and they get separated. The boy actually ends up getting taken in by Starfleet, and the mom stays on the run. So Starfleet Academy is about that boy who's now a teenager, going to be a young adult, and he's getting ready to graduate Starfleet Academy. And so finally in the last episode, they pay that off. And the mom is actually Tatiana Maslany. For those of you who don't know, she was Orphan Black and she's She-Hulk. So she's a great actress. So they didn't waste her because she was in the first episode, and I'm like, they're not just gonna. That's why it's that's what hooked me. I knew they weren't just gonna waste her because that's a major actor. You got She-Hulk, you got Orphan Black in there, and you're just gonna waste her like in the beginning of the first episode. So anyway, that got paid off, and I won't spoil it anymore, but I'll just say that that whole arc got paid off, and it ended in a cliffhanger, and I'm interested to see another season. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be canceled. So that's that. All right. So let's talk some food and travel. I didn't really travel, but well, I did travel to McDonald's to try the new Big Arch. It's got two kinds of onions. It's got the regular onions, and then it's got like fried onion, like onion crisps. So I got pickles, mac sauce, and then white cheddar cheese on a poppy seed bun. And check out my review here. And I also put a link in the bio. And that being said, keeping it short and sweet this week. I'll see y'all next week with a giveaway. All right? Peace.